Today, we'll be learning about what has been called the most successful environmental law in all of US history. Hey there, world changers. The EPA's toxic release inventory is a critical and really interesting example about how to use data to create change in combination with the government. The toxic release inventory was created by the EPA in the late 1990s. It came about after this tragic chemical accident in Bhopal in India, where a highly toxic industrial gas leaked out of a plant and killed thousands of people. After this accident, the EPA wanted to start to get a handle on how much toxic chemicals were being used in the United States. So they sent out a letter to all of the corporations in America asking them to disclose how much chemicals they were using. Now, this was not used in public marketing. It wasn't disclosed publicly. It was just an accounting measure from the EPA to start to get a feel for what was going on. They did this every year, and then after 5 years, something kind of miraculous started to happen. The toxic chemical usage in America went down by an enormous 45%. Now, 45% is an enormous number when we're talking about environmental change. Imagine taking 45% of plastic out of the ocean, saving 45% of the world's rainforest. It was a huge success, and people at universities started to study what happened. And that started this concept of disclosure or transparency, where the government asks companies or people or organizations to start disclosing the data about whatever they're doing. And just looking at the numbers and making the numbers public, even though the numbers weren't public in this particular EPA example, well, that in itself starts to drive change. And this methodology of disclosing data is so powerful. Let me read a couple of the quotes of what people have said about the toxic release inventory. TRI is quite simply one of the most effective means we have in this country for protecting the health of our people and the health of our environment. The TRI's mandatory disclosure has done more than all other legislation put together in getting companies to voluntarily reduce emissions. And that was from Dow Chemical who said that. And what's really interesting is that they say the surprising fact is, even without the government mandating any change, just mandating the data disclosure, this law has had massive beneficial effects, spurring enormous toxic reductions, and all of these unanticipated consequences by themselves show that disclosure requirements are one of the most powerful ways you can create environmental change. So the EPA didn't even mean to have such a positive effect, it just kind of happened. And that's why the disclosure of environmental data is so critical to change, and it's such a core theme of this book and in the work I do. Start to have a think about what sort of data is involved in what you're working on and how you could get better disclosure of data in your field. And of course, like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you've got a copy of the book, How to Save the World, and I will see you in the next video.